October 3rd, 2021. To say the least, this was a very eventful day. So I'm going to explain a little bit about it. So today, well, I should say it's today that I'm recording this. Hopefully you'll see it tomorrow or sometime this week. But 1 year ago today, I was in an accident that very well could have gone way worse than it did. It altered my life drastically for quite some time, and still I deal with some things from that, some side effects, and still some of my injuries still affect me. So the weekend of October 3rd, I actually was in Kentucky with Noah, and then Saturday we drove back to Ohio. We drove in separate cars. We got back late Saturday night, so we didn't get much sleep. That morning, the church choir was singing, so I had to be there at 9:15 for practice in the morning, and I only live like 3 to 5 minutes from the church. So since I live so close, I kind of thought it was pointless to drive 2 cars, but also I wanted him to be able to sleep in as much as possible, so I just let him sleep. I got ready, I went to the church, and had my practice, and then after practice I left and was coming back home to pick Noah up, and I actually was on my street, just like way down the road, and I was at a light, and it's kind of, the light is like, or that light, the road is kind of like a weird curve, if that makes sense. Like you turn, well, that light's super quick. So anyways, the light was green for me, so I was going straight through towards my house and away from the church. This guy that actually lives on the same road as me, he was coming the opposite direction, so like we were facing each other at the light. Well, I was going straight through the light and he was turning left, so I have the right of way. So I just kept driving through the light. Well, apparently he didn't see me through like a section of his like door frame or whatever, and he T-boned me on my side. I don't know if I have pictures, but if I could find some, I will put them of my car after the accident. So the accident happened right about 9:30 in the morning, about 15 minutes after practice, or after practice started, I should say. When he hit me, he spun me a 180, so when my car came to a stop, I was facing the direction that I came from. I was facing the church. I blacked out during the accident. I don't remember. I remember him hitting me, and then I don't remember anything else until he opened my door to check on me. So like that section, it's just gone in my mind, if that makes sense. Obviously, I'm screaming and crying in pain. It was absolutely horrible. I thought that my arm was broken. Any wind that was touching it, I couldn't move it. It felt like the wind was just blowing through my arm, and my pain tolerance is like that, like it's non-existent. My first thought was, I need somebody I know. Like my first thought specifically, I want Noah. So thankfully, most times when I drive, I will take my phone and I kind of like sit on it a little bit so that it stays next to me. So I was doing that, and so thankfully when he hit my car, it didn't move. It didn't like fly around or anything, so it was right underneath my leg still. So I grabbed the phone and I called Noah, and he answered pretty quick. And I found out when I called him, I just answered the phone sobbing, crying. Obviously something, like you could tell something happened, and he was in the shower. What are the odds? So he was running to me because his keys were in my car. That's about the only option he had at this point. He didn't have his keys. Nobody else was at the house. Everybody else was at the church except for me at the accident scene. So he takes off running. His hair's wet because when I called him, he was still in the shower. He even had soap in his hair still. And so his hair's wet. It's raining outside to add on to all of this chaos of the day. So he's running, and he's running in a city that he doesn't know. He's not super familiar with. He didn't grow up here like I did. So he's just kind of guessing. I told him when he went out of the house to turn left, and take off. But other than that, I was in so much pain, I couldn't even really think straight in the moment. I knew that, but then everything else I just blanked. I've lived in this city for almost 22 years, but like in that moment, my brain just, it was done. Like it was not working. You know, of all times that it could stop working was in this moment, of course. But he kept running. He took a left, he kept running, and then he tells me, he stops and he's like, okay, I'm on a bridge and underneath me is these railroad tracks. And I'm thinking the only railroad tracks in my mind at this moment I can think of is on like the opposite direction that I am, of the other side of town. And I'm like crying even more, screaming, because he went the opposite direction. He's not even close to me. At this point, I can see the sirens, or not see the sirens, but I can hear the sirens down the road. And I'm like, they're gonna beat him to me, and I'm gonna have to go to the hospital without him. And I'm just like distraught. Like it's just escalating crazy quick. So I'm like, I need to figure out where he's at. So on top of everything going on, I FaceTime him. Don't know why I didn't think about this sooner, but I FaceTimed him and I saw where he was, and he actually was just right down the road. And I forgot that there's this bridge that you go over. It's like a little small bridge and it's got a railroad track underneath it. Super pretty. It's a super cute spot. But he was on that, and I'm like, you're in the right spot, just keep going. So I just told him, I was like, keep running, you're like, you'll see me soon. And so he keeps running or whatever, and he sees the light, so he hangs up on me in that moment because he could see my car in the lights, and he keeps running, and I'm just like, Lord, please, like, get here quick. And then all of a sudden, above the chaos, everything going on, the sirens that I hear, and the guy trying to talk to me, and he was a super nice guy. I do not have any harsh feelings towards him. He was super sweet, he handled it great, and I know he didn't mean to hit me. It just, you know, there's a reason for everything. But I was in so much pain, I couldn't focus on him, and the only thing I wanted to hear was Noah's voice in the moment to help calm me down and kind of reassure me that everything's okay, and, you know, I'm okay physically and everything. So anyways, so finally, through all of that, I hear his voice, ask the guy where I'm at, and as soon as I heard that, I felt this like wave of relief just crash over me, because I was like, finally somebody's here that I know, and not only somebody, but Noah. So I hear him tell Noah where I'm at. He gets in my car and just instantly reaches over and just gently grabs my head. He didn't pull me to him, but he just laid his hands on my head and just started praying for me. And I instantly, like, I was in so much pain, don't get me wrong, but instantly everything changed for me. Like, I just knew I'm okay. He's here. He was praying for me, which just gave me peace above everything. And it just, in that moment, everything came back to reality, and I knew everything was gonna be okay. Then the ambulance gets there, and my anxiety way back up, because they opened the door, or actually, I forget how they got the door. I don't know, it was chaos. Somehow they got the door open. I know it wasn't easy for them, and they were asking me if I could walk, and I was like, I don't know, I think so. And mind you, I'm in a dress, I'm in heels, I had my hair all pretty, I had my favorite clip-in that my almost mother-in-law gave me, so, which granted I wasn't thinking about all this at the moment, but like, that's how I was dressed. I was not in a comfortable clothes by any means, so I'm trying to walk in heels. Granted, they brought the stretcher up close, so they put a neck brace on me in the car, and if you've ever had one, my goodness, I know you can understand, they are so uncomfortable. But then they helped me get out of the car, and I took like 3 steps, I think, and they set me down on the stretcher, and they put me on in the ambulance. And I remember they set me down, and when Noah got to my car, he called my parents and told them, which I'll tell you that side, how they reacted in a second. But so they weren't here yet. So Noah's standing at the end of the ambulance door, and I'm in the ambulance on this stretcher with a neck brace on. You know, they're attaching me to stuff, and I'm terrified you can see the terrified look in my eyes, and Noah asked the paramedic if he can get in the ambulance with me. And he asked if he's related to me, and he said he was my boyfriend at the time. And normally they don't let anybody that's not immediate family into the car, or into the ambulance, I mean. But the paramedic looked at me, and you just could see the fear on my face. Like, it was a traumatic day. And he was like, yeah, okay, you can get in. And literally I was like, thank the Lord. So Noah gets in the car, or into the ambulance. My goodness, it's not a car. He gets in the ambulance and sits next to me, and he's in there for maybe a minute and a half, and my parents show up, and they jump in the ambulance, and they're only allowed to have one person in there. So my mom actually ends up staying in the ambulance with me to help fill stuff out. And Noah and my dad took care of my car, drove it back to the house, and then they met us at the hospital. So all of this from my parents' point of view, this is what happened. So when Noah got to my car, he finally got there, checked on me, prayed for me. He called my dad, and my dad was at church. He answered, and first thing Noah said was, Ariana got into a wreck. She's okay, but she's hurt. And so for my dad hung up the phone, and my mom looked at him and said, what's wrong? And my dad told my mom, Ariana was in an accident. That's all he said. And then my mom had my niece and nephew, so she had to run upstairs to the youth room and give them back to my sister so that she could run with my dad to find me. And my dad, I don't know, the adrenaline of everything, he just left. Once he got off the phone with me, told my mom what happened, he just left. So my mom comes back down after giving the kids to my sister, and she's like, where's Jeff? And a lady in my church told her what happened, that he left or whatever, and she's like, I'll take you wherever you want to go, like, let's go. And so she actually rode, so my dad's already on his way to the accident scene, and my mom had to ride with somebody else and got there because the adrenaline, you know, they just weren't thinking. So that's what happened from their point of view. So we finally got to the hospital, and we sat in the room. Noah came in, and my mom was in there. Those are the two people I wanted in there immediately, just because, you know, they're the people when I'm hurt. They're the two biggest people that I want close to me. And obviously my dad too. But we only had two people in the room at a time, so they were in there for a while. They sent me off to go get tests. I got all kinds of MRIs and x-rays and everything done, all the stuff. And then when I got back, they left the room. Once I got settled back into my room, my dad and my grandpa came in, and they were in the room, like, talking to me and, you know, checking on me and stuff. And the doctor of the hospital comes in, and he tells my dad, he's like, her neck looks okay, there's no fractures or anything concerning. And we're like, oh great, you know, awesome. I'm still in extreme pain. I'm like, that's awesome, so thankful. And then immediately after saying that, he takes my neck brace off, okay, and yanks the pillow from underneath my head. And he told my dad something along the lines of, if she gets mouthy or something like that, just do this. And he yanked it from underneath my head, and he stuck the pillow on my face, and he just put enough pressure, like, he wasn't trying to hurt me, he was just trying to, like, make a joke, you know, like, oh, no worries, she can't really move that much. And he just put, like, light pressure on it. When he moved that pillow, I love people, but I was in so much pain. I know I didn't have a neck injury, but I had, like, combination whiplash. It was horrible. I was in so much pain. It was the day of, like, probably an hour or two after my accident. And he did that. He yanked out from it. And I'm telling you, if looks could kill, my goodness, he moved that pillow, and I literally, this is probably my face if I could imagine it. I literally was like, like, but thankfully I didn't have any broken bones or anything at the hospital that they found, which was really surprising, because when I got to the hospital, they had this little fan in the room, and I literally had either my mom or Noah, I don't remember which one, but I had to have them move it because the wind blowing, and it was barely any wind, was blowing onto my arm, and it felt like it was just going straight through my arm, and it hurt so bad. And I was like, my arm has to be broken. I still don't know why I felt like that, because I was 100% convinced that my arm was broken. But thank the Lord, I didn't have any broken bones. But I couldn't move my neck for months. Thankfully, we got home, and I had Noah and my mom and my dad to take care of me, and they were all fantastic. It was terrible. I couldn't do anything, and I have a couple videos that I'll probably put at the end of this that Noah recorded of us when I couldn't move. So this is me being vulnerable and showing my experience that I had 1 year ago today. It wasn't fun, but I definitely it put a new perspective for me of life, and just for everyone, cars are a death machine. You're literally driving a death machine. And even if I know people that they talk about all this crazy driving, how they race and do all these crazy things, and I'm like, you're gonna hurt somebody. And they're like, oh no, I don't care if I go out that way, at least I'm having fun. And I'm like, what about everybody else on the road? You could change somebody's life. You could hurt a mother and a baby, or a father and a baby, or anybody. They don't deserve that because you decided to drive recklessly. So for everybody's sake, please pay attention and just be careful.
So we're here. Beautiful day, right? Sure is. This is post-wreck, but my beautiful baby girl made it through. Stronger than I'll ever be, probably. She's in pain, but we're gonna make it through. Thank you, Jesus, for protection. We love you, and I love you.